Welcome to another episode of the Butterfly Mindset Podcast.
Left late night, what a mess. We woke up and we're still obsessed. Can't keep it straight night and day. We keep it classy, still we stay.
Welcome to another episode of the Butterfly Mindset Podcast. Today I have Mike Miedler, Century 21 CEO.
Yes,
Thank you so much for being here, man.
Great meeting you, Cyrus. It's great to be together here in Edmond and in beautiful San Diego, brother.
Oh, it's an amazing place, right?
Love it.
Good weather. A little dry, but good weather.
I say you guys in California, you pay for the weather, but it's spectacular.
100%.
Spectacular.
And I'm okay with it. I'll keep paying for
Amen.
it.
Amen.
So I'm really excited to do this because after we talked yesterday, Michael was telling me, he's like, man, that guy is amazing. He's a great guy. You're going to have a really good time having a conversation. Little different than normal podcasts. I want to go to how did you end up becoming Century 21 CEO? Where did this, have you always been in real estate? Where did...
Love it. It's one of my favorite questions. I mean, first of all, it is cool because I was just talking to somebody else about how much I love this business because of the people you meet and just how we happen to meet in the hallways of Inman, and now here we are just talking about life and business and all that other stuff. So I joke around with people. I had real estate, like most young people, was not even close to my radar, but I got started right after college. I joke around with people that I got started in the mailroom, but I literally worked at the ground level with Century 21 in the early days after I graduated college with a criminal justice major. And, I've held almost, honestly, every position inside the organization, from operations to finance to, I did what most great real estate professionals do every single day. I ran our national franchise sales team for a long time, so I know what it's like to prospect, pre-qualify, present, close, all those great things. But I literally started the ground up, and one of the reasons that I love this business, like I think you do, is because you get to meet so many cool people in all shapes and sizes in every single market around the country. And it really is an industry that I'm proud to be in because of those people and what they do for their local community. So it's been
100%.
The other thing I joke around about, I'm actually 51 now. I say I just turned 50, but I'm 51 now. I've now been with the Century 21 brand and organization longer than I haven't in my lifespan. So
what a
it's
trip.
Pretty crazy, right?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So now, what I'm curious about is you mentioned you went to school for criminal justice.
Yeah.
So what was your game plan?
Yeah. So I think I watched too many X-Files episodes, and I loved Mulder and Scully. If you're probably too young to even know what that is, but. So I wanted to be in the FBI. I mean, that was my thing. And I had a minor in accounting, but when I graduated school, as most people progress in life, you realize that your plan isn't exactly the plan that's going to get executed on. And I wound up, getting introduced to this organization. It was called Sendin at the time, which is this big corporate conglomerate. It was probably the first Tyco that was out there, where you had a bunch of Wall Street guys gathering up franchises. They happened to start buying franchises in the real estate space and the hotel space, and they had acquired Century 21, Coldwell Banker, and ERA at that point. They've obviously continued to grow. We're now anywhere, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was the first kid in my family really to go to college, and I was just trying to get paid, to be honest with you. I've done a lot of manual labor my whole life. My father was a roofer and a firefighter and contractor, and I worked really hard manually for most of my life, and I realized I did not want to do that. So I got this beautiful office job where I was getting paid, I think the starting salary back then in 1998 was $27,000 a year, whatever it was. But I was behind a desk, and they had a gym at the office, and it was just this big corporate organization, and I loved it. I fell in love with, again, real estate and the people and everything that went along with it. So from there, it's just been I don't think I've ever even planned any of the steps along the way. Cyrus, I got like probably life throws at you different things and different challenges, and I get thrown maybe in the deep end of the pool, as they would say, a lot of the times, and just try to figure out how to swim out of it.
Where'd you grow up?
So I grew up in North Jersey, born and raised in Essex County, which, I joke around, New Jersey gets a bad rap from a lot of people because they're familiar with Newark Airport, and they fly in and they see the ports and the oil refineries and all that stuff on their way to New York City.
Yeah.
But it's really a beautiful state. It's the Garden State, and it's really awesome. But I'm born and raised there, and my family and I still live there today.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
It really is. Have you been?
Yes. So I've been to Anywhere headquarters.
Okay.
I mean, first of all, that building's insane.
It's really cool, right?
But like the just the drive in after you get through the
junk,
it's like insane because it was
really
like,
beautiful.
oh, this is why it's the Garden State,
Yeah,
you know?
and it's so true. Out where you're at, there's horse farms, and I mean, like, again, the Garden State, we can go on and on. We have, if you're a golf enthusiast, we have some of the best golf courses literally in the entire country. Like, some of the top 100 are literally sitting in the backyard of New Jersey. People don't realize that because, again, they fly into Newark and they're like, holy cow, what is this?
So when you got first, it was straight Century 21, right?
Yeah.
So when you took that job, like what was that, just because it was like the first thing that you found, or like what was like?
More or less. I mean, like, I had to get paid. I had to start
That's
figuring
curious,
out where I'm going from here. And so I got into this organization, and it was Century 21, and I was really, for my first job, I was renewing franchises, specifically with brokers who were in Florida and Georgia. And I got to learn a lot about, the real estate business. I got to learn a lot about negotiating. I got to learn a lot about legal contracts and all those great things. And I think, one of the things that I tell, my kids or anybody who will listen is like, there's nothing that will replace energy and enthusiasm. I mean, you
100%.
grew up in sports, so you're a professional athlete, right? I say to my kids, like, sometimes you don't even have to be the best soccer player on the field, because my two youngest are soccer players. But when you have the most energy and you have the most enthusiasm and you're going to sprint after that ball every single time, the coach will notice that, and they will make sure that you're on the field.
100%. It's speaking of sports in general, like it's hard work. I mean, I was never the best player. Like growing up, I was never the best player. I was just the one that outworked everybody else. And like now, as like a couple years ago, I was coaching USC women's soccer, and like when you go scouting players, like I don't ever look at like
University of Southern Cal?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So like, fun fact, you know. That's a whole nother story.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But basically, like when I would go scout these players, like I would never look at like how good they were. I'd look at like when they made a mistake, and then what did they do after.
That's awesome.
That's the most important piece.
That's awesome.
Because if I can see what they do after that, then that's how they react to adversity. Mm-hmm. And then from there, I know if they're either coachable or they're not.
I love that mindset, right? And it's true. I mean, like, it's easy to, be a great sport and a great person and a great athlete or a great professional when things are going well. And I mean, I think that it translates so well to the real estate market, right? The market we're in right now. So yeah, it's a great point.
That's my point. Like it's so synonymous. Like I always say, sports and business are so synonymous, right?
Without
a
doubt.
It's the same thing, right? You show up, you work hard, you put in the work, you get what you want, right? Like. If you don't show up and you don't work, you skip practice here and there, you don't make the calls, you don't do the work, like you're not going to get the results.
You don't do the extra work even, right? Like, I mean, to your point about outworking everybody, look, you're on the soccer field, you're at practice, but how many times were you in the gym doing the extra sprints out on your own? Like whatever it was, like you got to put in that extra time. And I mean, I say to my kids, like with sports, it translates, and it's a great analogy for life because you're always going to be on a team. Whether it's you could be a independent contractor, independent real estate agent. You're always going to need a team around you to be able to execute to get that transaction to the finish line. Whether it's your competition, the mortgage broker that's involved, the title, the escrow, whoever it is. Like, you got to understand how to work on a team.
And it's the basics as well, right? Like I think this is what gets people all the time is like they don't realize that like as a professional athlete, the distance that we would pass the ball. Mm-hmm. As a professional athlete, this is what we would work on. Mm-hmm. And everybody sees a professional athlete on the field that takes the ball, puts it down, and hits it 40 yards. But you don't realize that it starts from right here. Yeah. And every day we're working on the basics. Yeah. It's business. It's real estate. Like it's hard markets like this. What do? We have to do the basics. if you go back to the basics, you're gonna crush it.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm a big, real quick, last point on that. I'm a big Mike Ferry fan. I was coached by Mike for a couple years as I was, doing a lot of my sales stuff. And I was just at his 50th Superstar Retreat last week with, Tom Ferry was there and his son Matt and all that. And one of the things he said is like, what I've learned after 50 years is that nothing will supplant the basics of this business, and they will help you succeed in any market there is.
100%.
So anyway.
100%. No, it's so true. That's just life.
Yeah.
Right? Yep. That's whether you're a CEO of Century 21 or you're a brand new agent, like it's all basics.
Or the kid who started in the mailroom.
Exactly.
Yep. No doubt.
So now you start renewing franchises, you're doing this. Like, I'm actually really curious, like, did you think that you would end up becoming CEO one day? Was that like an ambition that you had?
No, it wasn't. In fact, I know a lot of people are big thinkers, they're vision board type people. That's not me in a lot of different ways. I do set big goals for myself in many different ways, but they're more short term.
Yeah.
I never said to myself, oh man, that's something I could do. Because I don't know if it's something I ever thought I could do. I think what primed me for the role was, one, my loyalty and my understanding of the network and the business by doing all the things I did along the way. And this goes back to the energy and enthusiasm perspective. It's like, man, I was so inquisitive, still am. Like, I love talking to professionals, folks like you, to understand like what made them successful, how they got to where they are, what their path and road was. And I think that's worked out well for me because I've been able to apply those lessons that I learned from across my experiences to, leading my team and understanding what, begets success. But I think, again, it goes back to that, having the energy and enthusiasm all along the way and trying to translate that to the people that I lead today. And so, I feel like when the role became available, people looked around the room and said, man, like, this guy makes the most sense for the role, just based on all the background that I had. And again, I've done everything from like the mailroom stuff all the way up to, like taking out the trash cans and, running events. Like, it's just, I had the complete understanding of the business by my ability to just roll up my sleeves and work and try to understand what was happening, not just on the front lines, but from a corporate perspective.
Your story is very unique, right? Like, there's not many people that, especially nowadays, that stay with a company for over 25 years.
So it's funny, right? Because you say that, and I think back to, 15 years ago when I had a lot of friends who would, they had degrees and they would jump out of jobs because they could make some more money somewhere else. And I was always saying to myself, man, I should be looking outside. I should be doing something different. I should try to get the next role. And by mistake, that worked out for me. It is a unique story in this day and age.
What do you mean by mistake?
I believe that, things happen in life for a reason. I've been offered other things. People have obviously, pitched me to come over or move organizations. And I don't want to say by mistake. It's just something held me in Century 21. And it wasn't, something I purposefully planned out or said, hey, like you said, if I take this path and I just stick with it, I'll be here one day. That was never part of the plan. So it was just, it's one of those karma things where I
feel like you just put your head down, work, do your job, and I love that. You've seen like the Century 21 do a lot, right?
I've seen the industry, the brand,
everything
lot happening, right?
Because even to more recently, you guys have rebranded a lot, right? But like Century 21 at its height was.
Right? I call Century 21 the original disruptor. Like we literally 54 years ago, and look, it's no secret. Most people in most markets think of Century 21 as the old brand with the gold jackets, and that's all fine. But where we operate well, and I was just talking to your buddy out there, we have great presence in Indianapolis, folks that he knows, and we were just talking about how well they do and how awesome they are and what great brand stewards and industry stewards they are. But I've seen this brand change a lot. I've seen the industry change a lot, and I think, what's interesting and what I love about it is that all these folks, they are local entrepreneurs in their community, and they are givers. Like the real estate community at large are givers. The people who have longevity, who are in this business for the long haul, for the long game. They're people who care about their community. They care about their customers. They care about the other folks that they're serving, and that's how you become successful. And I just noticed that in every single agent, every single broker who does a lot of business and has been in it for a really long time. And I'm sure your mantra is, look, man, I'm going to serve my customer at the highest level, figure out how to make sure that they are the most important thing that I'm worrying about versus the transaction itself.
Yeah.
And then, man, everything else falls in place.
Takes care of itself. How do you take a legacy brand and bring it to 2025?
Yeah.
That's an interesting thing that's happening with Century 21 right now. So it's I'm really curious about that.
It's the right people. It's being represented. I say Century 21 is defined by every agent that holds the card and by every broker that waves the flag. And whether it's in China or it's in Portugal or Mexico or Canada, I mean, wherever that presence is, we're defined by the people who are out there dealing with the customer every single day. A good friend of mine here, I won't mention his name, he's an unaffiliated broker, and he says, man, it kills me that I've done studies in my marketplace, and every single time I do them, people, and as much money as I spent on marketing, Century 21 has the most brand recognition. And I'm like, dude, I love when you say that. And I owe you a beer for saying it. But we've built this household name with consumers. Our biggest challenge is, with the industry at large and the agents that are out there and attracting them to what they might perceive as an old brand. But when we have great agents and great brokers and great marketplaces, I mean, our brand knocks it out of the park and truly, does a great job. But it's making sure you're represented by the right people. I think is the end way to say it.
100%. What's your vision for Century 21 into the future?
Yeah, I mean, I think what I try to focus on is growth for our agents and growth for our brokers. And, to me, I think I look at from a brokerage standpoint, I think I call them opportunities. Some might think of them as challenges, but it's back to those basics. It's making sure that our brokers have, the right tools and systems to be able to recruit and retain agents, the right platform to be able to coach and train agents and inspire those agents to do more business, because to me, the best leaders in this business inspire people to get to their personal goals versus, how many units you're going to do, how much volume you're going to do. Every agent in this industry has, they're in this for a reason. They're trying to put a kid through college. They're trying to, buy an investment property. They're trying to retire earlier, give money back to their community, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I think the best leaders that I see are out there trying to inspire their agents to get to that goal through coaching and training and the means that they have. And we try to implore them and bring them the tools so that they can do that better. And then the last thing is making sure that our brokerages and our agents are operating in a profitable way, because when they're profitable, it means that their long-term success is going to be, I think, easier to achieve, and obviously it allows them a mechanism to probably outgrow in their marketplace. So
100%. Yeah. That's interesting. I keep thinking of more questions I want to ask you, because I'm just so curious.
I have a good one for you, because I know you talk about the butterfly effect, right? And you mentioned, what did you say about it? It's about how small changes.
Small little things make big change.
Yeah. So I'll tell you a great personal story that I love. I don't know if you've ever heard of the guy Chris Nikic. So Chris is this is going back 4 years ago, right during COVID. He was the first Down syndrome person to ever attempt an Ironman. And an Ironman, you're familiar with it. It's a 2.1 mile swim. It's 112 miles on the bike, and then it's a marathon. So it's like it could be a 12 to 16 hour event.
Yeah.
So this kid went out with his father and tried to attempt this thing. And his father went to a bunch of folks and asked them if they'll create a plan so he can get there. They're like, there's no way. He can't do it. It's humanly impossible for somebody with Down syndrome to do it. Well, his father wound up with him working on it, and their motto was 1% better. And we've heard that, right? You've heard, in fact, I have this shirt. I actually got to meet Chris during the warm-up swim. I did the Ironman with him as well.
Wow.
Not with him. I mean, I was with a separate team, but I got to meet him. We did the same Ironman. It was during the COVID year. The only Ironman they had was Florida and Texas. We were doing the Florida one, and so they wound up having it. But
that's amazing.
So, I mean, during this race, Chris had all these different challenges. I mean, he fell off his bike at one point, huge gash in his knee. I think he pulled over during the marathon, he got bitten by red ants during a water break up and down his leg. And he had a team, right, during the day. He had a team helping him, guide him through. And his father was there every step of the way. Not doing it with them, but like kind of a aid and support. And his father had to pull him over at the marathon because he knew he was in immense pain and just didn't want to finish. And he said, Chris, look, we got a battle going on here, and either one of two things is going to happen. Either you're going to let the pain win, or you're going to let the dreams win. And do you know, right before 15 minutes before the end of the time that they give you in order to finish an Ironman, the first Down syndrome individual, Chris Nikic, crossed the finish line and became an Ironman. Now, his story's out on ESPN. It's out on NBC Sports. You can look it up. But, I mean, I just, when you talk about that mentality, about small changes, every single day, his thought process with his father was like, how do I get 1% better towards my training, towards the swim, towards the run, towards my mindset, towards my nutrition? And his father and his team helped coach him to get him to that point. And it's one of those things where like it just gives me the chills to this day to think about it, because it really is. It's those small changes, whether it's something like that, a physical competition, or in business. I mean, you can achieve anything if you really put your mind to it.
Oh, 100%. I mean, that's like very much my life. Like I always say, like one step forward, and even if you fall flat on your face, you're still moving forward. Like it's about making that progress on it, and that's with in business, and then that's like I'm a big believer in life's an inward journey, not an outward journey, right? So like it's about also taking in like on a daily basis, like intake on a daily basis of what we did, how did we do, how did we react in a certain situation, how did we not react in a certain situation? Would we like to change that? Would we not? And then can we improve that tomorrow? Yes. That's all life's about. Like when you really break it down, and then when you apply that to your business, when you apply that to every other element in your life gets better. On a daily basis.
And look, life is stressful enough. I think we as humans want to, we want to set the big goal, but we want to achieve it immediately, instant gratification. And so I think to your point, it's like, look, like just reflect inward. Like, can I make a little small change that's going to get me one step closer, right? A little, like, you don't have to make big improvements overnight. It's not going to happen. But you can set big goals. Just take small steps.
Yeah, that's like the thing. Like I think a lot of the times I talk to a lot of different people, when I'm speaking or whatever, and I get these questions like, I feel like I want to do this, I want to start this foundation, for instance. Like I get that like randomly, and I'm like, but like, why does it need to be a big foundation? Like, why don't you start doing something? You know what I mean? You don't need to, I want to start this new company, but like, why don't you start moving forward on that, right? Like, like sometimes walking down the street, and I just give this really basic example, and telling someone you like their shoes changes the trajectory of that person's day and life. Because maybe they were having a bad day, and then all of a sudden, like they were having a bad day. If they continue to walk and they went into the hotel down the street and the concierge didn't give them what they wanted immediately, what are they going to do? Blow up on them. Then that person has a bad day. That person has and it becomes this butterfly effect of negative energy when we could literally stop that in its tracks.
I just went on. I was with the president of ERA this morning on a run. Alex Vidal, he's a good friend of mine. We've been close over the last couple of years as he's taking this role, and he was saying to himself, like he started practicing gratitude, and years ago, and how it's helped him not just, like with himself personally, and making sure that like he not just he was grateful for himself, but also expressed that gratefulness to other people, just paying little small compliments. totally can change people's outlook on the day.
Completely changed people's outlooks. And then also like, so I'm a huge believer in ego is the devil. Like I think ego is the worst thing that we have on this earth. And it leads to us making bad decisions. It leads to us, doing all kinds of different things, wars, so on and so forth. And so like, as I went through this process of like trying to figure out like, okay, like if ego's bad, like how do I get rid of ego, right? It's gratitude.
Yeah.
And it's gratitude on a daily basis, right? Like just sitting there and realizing like we're in, the shoes that I'm sitting in or standing in right now, like are something that I wish I was in 10 years ago, right? Maybe it wasn't the exact path that I expected, but like, look at where I'm at. I mean, look at where we're at right now, right? Like it's paradise. And so it's like, it's very interesting. So like, I actually have, I have this on a daily basis. This is what I, do is I'm like always at the end of the day, I always say what I'm grateful for before every meal. I thank, thank God that I'm able to eat, right? Like these little things that I think we take for granted in life, especially as you become more successful, right? And it's very easy to allow ego in as you start becoming more successful.
Without a doubt. I mean, the other thing is like I always tell people on my team, and I think everybody should have this outlook. Is like you never know what the person like. I don't know what you're going through right now, and you don't know what I'm going through. And so when you deal with people and they snap or they're mad or like it just seems like they're having a bad day. Like you don't know what's happening with them personally deep down inside.
Every
right?
person you walk by is dealing with something at any given time.
Without a doubt. Yeah.
That's like mind blowing when you think about that.
At some level, right?
Yeah, at some level. And the crazy thing is like someone's dealing with something that maybe to you is not a big deal, but to them it's like catastrophic.
Totally.
Right? Where some of our past experiences, right? Like who we are, right? So it's like that's mind blowing when you start thinking about that type of effect. I'm curious on like thought process. You've gone from mailroom to CEO. Like, do you ever think like what's next?
I think we all do as human beings. I'd be lying if you don't say, hey, what's next? I am so enamored and I would say feel so responsible for not just the folks that I brought into the Century 21 system, but the people who have been part of it for so long. I feel like there's still a lot of work for me to do here. And so who knows? Like I feel like if I continue to follow the philosophy that I did, work really hard, treat people really well, and like you would want to be treated, and just bring energy and enthusiasm to every conversation and every situation that you're in, along with you got to do all the business things, right? Operationally be sharp, stay up with the times, like strategize and execute. Like those are super important as well. But I feel like if I continue with my philosophy of trying to work really hard and bring energy to my company and the people I lead, that the next thing will find me, right?
Bro, you're a franchise player. It's like crazy when you think about like it's just so cool. That is like one of the coolest stories. I interview like all the CEOs in the industry. I interview all kinds of really like how cool is it to like start from where you're at, from where you started to like now, and like be leading a company that's like...
Cyrus, one of the things I say is like, it's funny because I was joking around with somebody in the hallway, but it's like, my wife will tell my kids, when dad goes to conferences and stuff, like people like line up to take pictures with him. They're like, are you kidding me? Why? Why would they do that, right? And so I never forget for a second, it's not because of Mike Miedler, it's because of the title of the brand that I represent and the fact that I am the leader of one of the most iconic brands in the industry. And so, I try to keep that, right by the side of me so that the ego doesn't get in the way. But, I think, again, you do the right things, you do the basics well, you stay focused and work your butt off, if you want to say it that way. Things will fall in place for you.
I love that. I have another question for you. Someone's just getting out of college, trying to figure out what the heck to do with their life. They have this thought process of what they're going to do.
Yeah.
But then opportunity comes up that maybe isn't exactly what they wanted. Like, what piece of advice would you give them?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say opportunity comes up that it isn't what they thought. But I think the other thing, what it's the Mike Tyson thing, like everybody's got a game plan until you get punched in the face. I mean, there's a lot of kids right now who are coming out of school who I think are really finding it a difficult time trying to get into the careers that they thought they'd go into. And, you know, I'm not saying in every different field, but I'd say, you know, like, be open-minded. A lot of people say, you know, follow your passion, do what you're passionate about. At the end of the day, if you stay the course, if you do all the fundamental things that we just talked about, I think you could eventually get to where you want to be. But, you know, sometimes you're going to have to veer off path. And a lot of businesses and the skills that you need for those businesses are transferable, whether they're in sports, in the business of sports, or in real estate, or in, you know, healthcare, or what have you. And so I'd say, you know, take risks, be willing to get thrown into the deep end of the pool or out of your comfort zone in an area that you didn't want to be in or are familiar with, and try to figure out, bring that energy, bring that enthusiasm, and just give it the best shot, because you know, life's too short. And I mean, you know, there's so many different experiences you can get from different industries and different people. You know, try to take it in, try to give something a shot, and if you find out you don't like it and you can't live with it, then yeah, keep moving on and keep following your passion. But you know, there's a lot of ways to make a living and learn business or whatever it is.
Yeah, I love that. Dude, this is probably one of my favorite episodes I've ever recorded. Legit, you know,
I appreciate that.
It's really cool because, you know, it's a very unique story. You're a titan in the industry. You've been able to grow a career with the same company, and your mindset and your thought process is amazing. So I appreciate it. Thank you for making time.
People find each other for a reason, and I feel like we did this week for a reason. So I appreciate the time, Cyrus.
Oh yeah, appreciate you. Thanks, man.